Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. This is an update from the Ukrainian front. I pick two articles, one from the Ukrainian side, the other one from the Russian side, and see where they overlap, which is almost never. But maybe it's going to give a general view of the front coming from both sides. That means you add more, all right? Instead of overlapping and you get this information, you're going to have this. Supposedly you're going to enhance your knowledge. Not knowledge, information. So let's see. I'm going to start with the Ukrainian article coming from Ukrinform, and this is from 8 o'clock, the evening update from Ukraine. Russian expand torture chambers in occupied areas. How these guys are doing it, the Ukrainians, is they give you a general like a summary, and then they go with not showing you, but telling you what's going on in the north, then in Chernihiv, then in Sumy, and then in Kharkiv, then in Luhansk, Donetsk, Zaporozhye, and then in Kherson. So they go like this. Now, why I'm going to do that, whenever I go, let's say I'm getting to Kharkiv Oblast, I'm going to use these bullets that come from the Russians. Unfortunately, these are from yesterday, since the Russians were slackers today. So I'm just going to use the map, and I'm going to use the hot spots here just to reiterate what has happened there. Like here is Bakhmut. If you just, zoom it like this, they are expanding, they are advancing this way according to the Russians. They're expanding this way, and then at one point they will just close here. And these guys will never be able to get the hell out of here. But as of now, and this is expanding, this is definitely changing. But this comes from the Russians, remember. The same thing here, you see how they do the same thing everywhere. Now, another one is right here. Remember this little town here, Kupiansk, had an order to retreat, not the military, but evacuate the population, because these guys are advancing, coming south here. So let's go and start with the Ukrainians. I'm not going to talk about the torture chambers, because that's not the goal of this video. The reason here is the goal is to give you an update on the military situation there. In the past 24 hours, Ukrainian air forces have launched 6 strikes on Russian personnel and military equipment clusters. Meanwhile, Russian troops launched 19 airstrikes and opened fire with multiple launch rocket systems MLRS 26 times. The threat of Russian missile strikes is persisting all over Ukraine. Now, in Volyn, Polisia, Siversky, and Slobozansky directions, the situation remained rather unchanged. Russian troops continue hardening positions with the border area of the Bryansk and Kursk region. In the Belgorod region, enemy units continue demonstrative actions to prevent Ukrainian forces from being redeployed to other directions. You got that right. All right, so what they were saying that the nothing happened here, Chernihiv and Sumy, and right here. They said the Russians are keeping in Kursk Oblast here, then Bryansk Oblast, which is right here, and in Belgorod, just some troops here. So the Ukrainians, who definitely expect an invasion here, they keep their troops here, so they can't come here in this here. Emil, come on, stop using the here. Going into east. Then in Belarus, Russians also have about 10,000 people here, fighters, and I'm assuming the Ukrainians have much more than 10,000 in this position. I was about to say here again. All right. Over the past day, Russian invaders have opened fire on the Sumy region, Kharkiv regions, and that's it. So it's Kharkiv and Sumy. So said they open fire here, again here, and here. I'm not going to use that again. God damn it. Let's go back to the Ukrainians. In Kupiansk and Liman directions, so now we're going south, southeast. Russian troops made unsuccessful attempts to break through the defense of Ukrainian forces. The enemy launched artillery strikes on the Kharkiv region, Luhansk region, and that's it. So they're talking this area. And I'm going to, if you look at the red bubbles here, this is where the Russians attacked, bombarded. What's this? Yellow is where the Russians downed some drones, which is not an important thing. This is, let's see, this is when you have this bullet with the airplane sign. It could be a helicopter or a fighter jet, let's see, or a bomber. It says that Russian space is shot down, aerospace forces shot down a Ukrainian MiG-29 aircraft. They just got four, will just get four from Poland, and probably up to 28 and of them, the whole fleet, and they will get from Slovakia, how many? 11, I think, in the days to come. Russian invaders tried to launch the offensive on Hryanikiivka, Verkhmyo-Kamianske and Spirnie, but had no success. I can't believe, man. I can't believe. Anyway, how can I? I mean, I have no problem, reading names, but yes, I never thought Ukrainians have this kind of, combinations. Let's put it this way. I can read Japanese 50,000 times faster and better than this. I love Japanese, but this is like breaking my tongue here. And long and anyway, in the Bakhmut direction, Russian occupiers continue attempts to seize the town of Bakhmut. Ukrainian defenders repel enemy attacks near Klishchivka and Ivanivsky. I know that's in the west of Bakhmut. So now they're talking about Bakhmut, which the Russians are calling Artemovsk, right here. So they say that the Russians tried to get here is the Ivanivsky right here, but they will probably go a little bit further and will stop, maybe in front of Chesov Yar, which I think the Ukrainians call it Chahiv or something. Let's see if they mention here. In the Avdiivka, Marinka, Shakhtarsk directions, Russian troops conducted unsuccessful offensive actions towards the Donetsk region, Kamyanka, Nevelske, Avdiivka, and Marinka. So they go south from Artemovsk, from Bakhmut. Let's see what happened yesterday in Bakhmut. Fighting is taking place in the city. Denis Pushilin, the acting head of the Donetsk People's Republic, said that the situation remains difficult and Kiev regime did not intend to withdraw its troops. Ukrainian forces are accumulating in Chasov Yar. Ah, that's good. So they are coming here. All right, good to know. And we go south, as these guys said, Avdiivka, Marinka, and we have here Pavlovka and Vuhledar in Ukrainian. This is new. This is where the troops meet face to face, okay? The red bubble is when the Russians are shelling. This blue ones when the Ukrainians are shelling. So let's see what they did in Donetsk, the Ukrainians. Ukrainian forces shelled the Kievsky, Kubikavsevsky, and Petrovsky districts. The second one was Kuibishevsky. They fired 57 shells at the city. Wow, that's a lot. An explosive device was dropped on the Kirovsky district from a drone. And here is an attempt. The drone was shot down, correct. And let's see what happened in Avdiivka, according to the Russians. Fighting is taking place on the city outskirts. But, they're going to surround them, encircle them here. Now, Marinka. Fighting is taking place in the western part of the city. Russian artillery units destroyed a Ukrainian 2S1 Gvozdyka howitzer along with an ordnance depot. Let's say Vuhledar. Fighting is taking place on the city's outskirts. Forces of the Vostok Group struck Ukraine Armed Forces units using operational and tactical aviation and artillery. And in Pavlovka, forces of the Vostok Group struck UAF units using operational and tactical aviation and artillery. All right, let's see what the Ukrainians are saying there. In the Avdiivka, Marinka, and Shakhtarsk directions, Russian troops conducted unsuccessful offensives all right, actions towards the Donetsk regions. In Zaporozhye and Kherson, now they move south a little bit. Right here, this is Zaporozhye, this is Kherson. This is where the Ukrainians are. Zaporozhye and Kherson directions. Russian occupiers were holding defense. The enemy opened fire on the Zaporozhye region, and in Donetsk region, they give you like 20 settlements. Kherson, so it's basically shelling. This is what the Ukrainians are saying in Zaporozhye and Kherson. Now, if you go here, let's see what's going on in Zaporozhye. In Zaporozhye, the Russians said yesterday that they just struck some Ukrainian targets here. Let's see what they did here. Forces of the Vostok group struck UAF units using operational and tactical aviation and artillery. I'm assuming the same thing here. Yep. And I'm assuming the same here. No. What happened here? Vladimir Rogov, member of the main council of the regional administration, said that the Ukrainian armed forces attempted to conduct a reconnaissance attack using armored vehicles in the Pologovsky district. Russian forces repelled the attack. Over 40 Ukrainian armed forces soldiers were killed and at least 8 units of military equipment were destroyed. Ooh, that's big news here. Copy. There you go. And let's go here to the Kharkiv, right? In the Kharkiv we have, these are Ukrainians shelling. Let's see what they did here. Ukrainian forces shelled civilian infrastructure. Oh, they do that too? Okay, Ukrainian forces shelled civilian infrastructure in the city using barrel artillery. The same thing here. Ukrainian forces fired 12 shells at the village using barrel artillery. Again, Ukrainian forces fired 18 shells at the city using barrel artillery. Russian air defense shot down a Ukrainian drone. And let's see what these guys did. The Ukrainians, what they did in Kherson. Russian artillery units destroyed a D-30 howitzer along with its ammunition. 4 Ukrainian armed forces soldiers were killed. 3 were wounded. And let's go to the last piece here of these guys. The Ukrainians say, according to the available data, Russian invaders set up a new military hospital in one of the buildings in the eastern part of Luhansk. About 30 seriously wounded Russian soldiers have been received there in recent days. The General Staff also noted the increased number of those who received serious injuries among the Russian military. The number of evacuation trips to Russia rose from 2 to 3 per week. Local residents having at least some medical knowledge are involved in taking care of the wounded. I made a video a little bit ago with an unnamed sources, more than one, from the US. There were some officials reporting that the Ukrainians finally lost about 100,000 people dead, military personnel. I don't know how many they were wounded, but in the past year, that came from the Jerusalem Post, which took it from the Politico. Politico reported it, and then Jerusalem Post broke it for me, called me and say, Emil, shalom, we got something for you. Oh, thank you very much. Okay, that's how the conversation went. Actually, it went like, okay. So we have this little situation here, the general update of the front. I don't go into too much detail because sometimes it's hard to really believe those details. And it's like who reports to whom and you're able to get it. But anyway, I'm not doing that, not because I don't believe those reports. I don't believe this, just so you know. It's just that this is what we have. So we have to at least, keep track. And sometimes you catch them lying. Obviously, have you seen anything overlapping over there? I didn't really see anything. It was just they shell here, they shell here. The guys tried to advance here, the guys repel them here, and that's about it. We'll see. I think they open a new front. It's another hotspot now besides Bakhmut. I will cover that in a future video. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.